Hey guys, what's going on here? Will, Flawless Exotic Creations, coming to you guys with another video. And in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about planning and being pretty much organized in the sense of your breedings, your pairings, your future, your now, everything. And hopefully talk about how important it is to plan. So this video again is going to be for the newer breeders like ourselves, as well as it can definitely touch on some points for, I guess, the inexperienced but been doing it for a while, when it comes in reference to the planning stages, and taking advantage of your opportunities. When you start to sit down and create your wants and needs lists, which are two very different lists. We'll talk about that in another video. But when you create these lists, that should be a part of your business plan. You need to take into consideration the great thing and the most horrible thing in ball python breeding, which is the odds gods. Yes, they do exist, guys. They truly do exist. And you need to take them into consideration when you're doing your pairings. You can shoot for them long shots, you can do them 1 in 64 odds, whatever your pairings are. I'm not saying don't shoot for those odds, but the thing about it is those odds are literally per egg. So the only way you're going to increase your possibilities of hitting any of the combos you can pretty much dream of is by increasing your chances. So when you're out there in the market, and the program right now, what we're talking about is completely irrelevant. We blanket it pretty much across the board on all our programs, all of our projects. When you're in position or you're in the market looking for something specific, oh, I need a double het clown pied or black pastel double het clown pied. Okay, cool. When you go out there and you find one that you need, or you secure it, you probably shouldn't just settle for just that one. Now, according to your budget and according to your planning and according to your infrastructure on whether you can actually house 3 or 4 snakes for that one program, all of this you should think about ahead of time while you're sitting at that table drawing out that business plan, your entire pickup guidelines. Reason being, if you have that home run male or whatever male you decide to go with, you're going to want to increase his chances of producing your wants and needs in-house, your goal snake out of those breedings. So it's simple mathematics. Are you going to have a better chance saying, hey, I'm gonna breed this 1 male or 2 males in this program to these 2 females, or are you gonna have a better opportunity, which is what we're all about, setting ourselves up for, hopefully, for success. We never want to talk down on any program, any breeder, but we want to hopefully bring everybody together. So the way we end up planning things, even if you have 1 male or 2 males in a program, we try to increase our odds around the board. There's people in the industry, they palpate, they feel on the snake for follicles inside. We're not good at that. We may get good at that, but until then, we want to make sure we're taking the proper caution to increase overall across the board our capabilities and increase our chances on every single clutch, every single pairing. So what did? We went out and got ultrasound. Had to learn how to use it, and now we use the ultrasound. It gives us very precise readings on follicles, and we don't have to necessarily palpate other than to learn how to do it. We want to take into consideration all the tools that's out there to help us achieve our goal. And back on topic with going out there, and let's say you're going to grab a black pastel double het clown pied female, you need it for your program, and you see it and it's at an awesome price. You end up picking one up, it fit in your budget, and now you're on to the next project. Sometimes you need to take a second look and see, not only did you just grab that black pastel double het, maybe there were 2. Maybe there was a second one, not only with black pastel, but with a secondary gene involved as well, incomplete dominant gene, that's also double het, that also fits within that budget. Or maybe it stretches the budget a couple dollars and cents, but you have the infrastructure to pick her up. Us, in those situations, we're gonna pick up both. because once they get to size and they get to breeding, you come to find out that you're gonna need that girl. It's not necessarily a want. You're gonna need that girl because yeah, you may breed that first girl and hit your odds, and that's in a perfect world. You hit those 1 in 64 odds, but as you already know, the world isn't perfect. Chances are, you know, that you buy that one girl, she reaches size, she's ready to rock and roll, you pair her, she doesn't go for you. You wait till the following season, she doesn't go for you that season either. You wait for the third breeding season and she goes for you, and maybe she still doesn't hit the odds. That's chances are things like that is gonna happen, and we try our best within human nature to not allow that to happen. I know that sounds weird. A good stance, a good effort on trying to not allow that to happen is buying 2 of them, like we were talking about. Chances are you growing both of them up. Hopefully, you know, one doesn't go off food and everything works in a perfect world. But if they both reach size, chances are maybe one of them will go for you within those first 2 breeding years, if not both. But at some point within those first 2-3 breeding seasons, they both should end up going for you, and you should be doubling your chances on hitting whatever gold snake is in mind. I think this is very important because actually Tim with Morphed Out Reptiles and myself, we speak all the time. Darren, Sloan Morse, we speak all the time, and we find that a lot of people chase the home run odds, and there's nothing wrong with that, but be prepared for everything else that comes after it. Really short scenario because I wanted to give an informative video to hopefully inspire and help people chase that dream in the long run through changing things in the here and now. Typically we don't do double head to double head. Typically we try to stay away from head to head. Typically there is nothing wrong with doing these pairings. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So that's the disclaimer. Nothing wrong. Breed what you can to achieve the goals that you desire. That's what you need to do. But being a breeder, from our perspective, we're going to try in certain situations not to do head to head, because the grand scheme of things is you hit your dream snake, you hit that, you know, visual from that head to head, you have your holdback, that's exactly what you were shooting for, and in the process you put that into the holdback rack and you have, let's say, 6 other babies that were not visuals. Now in this market you no longer have, especially since it keeps increasing the amount of genes you can test. Shedtesting.com, check out Gray Rider Reptiles. But they keep getting more and more tests available. Well, that's a great thing. I don't see anything negative about that. The negative thing for the breeder seller per se is, on our side of things, you're gonna face a situation where you have this 4 or 5 incomplete dominant gene snake that's now 66% het. For whatever that recessive may be. You cannot pennies on a dollar upcharge, in theory, for that pos het now. You pretty much almost gotta bring that price down to as if it wasn't het at all, and sell it accordingly like if it wasn't het at all, and hopefully someone will buy it in hopes of it being het, because it was the price of it not being het at all. Only other way to get around that is to shed test those snakes, which is a possibility as well. So you're going to send those sheds in, 6 snakes out of that clutch, test them. Some going to come back positive, some going to come back negative, and you move forward that way. That's your other option. But as a breeder, you're also going to have to understand if you have 20 clutches, 30 clutches, 40 clutches. Let's say 40 clutches and half of them you did head to head. Well, that means you're going to have 20 clutches where, let's say it's low numbers or whatever it may be. You hit some visuals and you killed it. Well, 20 clutches, 3 babies, 3 eggs a clutch that were head to head. I mean, you're looking at testing 60 different snakes now, just to be precise about what you're putting out there in the market. And then you can list them as being tested. You can list them exactly for what they are, whether they're het, whether they're not. But guess what? That 60 tests you now also have to pay for out of pocket. That's also going to have to become part of your business budget for that breeding season. So we try to plan around that. We try to have visual to het 90% of the time. And some of the long shots is the stuff that is really, really untapped. Actually, the next video that should be coming up we just had a clutch pipping, our first 2024 clutch number 1, the first one that went into the incubator. And that clutch was a black pastel G-stripe hypo male bred to a black pastel butter hypo female. So everything is hypo in that. So everything will be visual hypo. Everything will be het G-stripe. And the gold snake in that, we'll talk about it more when we get there. But the gold snake is going to be super black pastel hypo het G-stripe. A lot of people don't look up for a lot of value in G-stripe. We love G-stripe. We love the Kiki project. We're working that as well. And we've been out there looking around for certain projects. Go back through some of our videos as far as getting established and holdbacks on what you should hold back and what you shouldn't. Are you holding back things that you can downright pretty much go out and buy? Is it better to go out and buy that ideal snake versus hatching it out? 9 times out of 10 right now it is, because you're going to still have byproduct of everything you missed in chasing, let's say, a sub $200, sub $300 snake that you could have went out there and purchased. But we'll talk about that in that video. And just guys, take a second when you're doing these pairings and planning your pairings to ensure that you're thinking things through. All the variables that's out there. You know, don't plan on, oh, I got a double het to double het. You know, the larger the clutch, yes, the increased chances on you hitting your eyes. But once you hit that 10-8 clutch in that double het to double het, just know what comes with that. You know, you're gonna hit that home run. You get your double visual. Awesome. It's your holdback goes into your rack. You're not gonna make any dividends, no income off of that holdback snake. But now let's say you hit horrible eyes on the rest and you're literally sitting there with incomplete dominance and everything else. Cool, awesome looking clutch. But you got 9, 10 babies that you gotta send out for 2 tests on each single one of them, because everything is showing up as 66% het. So again, guys, it's just food for thought, something to consider in the building stages. Try to go visual to het if you can, or at least minimize the number of het-to-het pairings, as well as when you're picking up very specific snakes for your project. Try to, if your infrastructure can withstand it, pick up multiples with different things that you're working with in those recessives. It will help you out in the long run, and you'll thank us in the end. But it's Will, Flawless Exotic Creations, and we are out.